Hi, I'm Josh.
And I'm Nat, and we're two human people, I promise. This episode is about our first day trip to the mountains this year in fall. We forgot to record a lot of us talking there because
There's a lot of new things that we were trying for the first time.
we just got a brand new Jeep.
That's right.
A Jeep 4xe. It's a plug-in Jeep.
It gets about 25 miles for electric.
We're averaging 26 miles per gallon, which is a lot for a Jeep. And then your dad was with us.
Yeah, my dad has also recently purchased a Jeep 4xe.
Yeah.
Completely disconnected from us. We didn't know that he had bought a 4xe. And then we started looking at them and found that we'd both bought new ones.
And then we took our own food, we were picnicking, so we were like just keeping in mind all these things and our route and everything. We're narrating it after the fact. We drove from Raleigh to almost to Blowing Rock Boone and got on the Parkway. We were a little concerned there would be a lot of traffic because of peak season.
It was just like the week before peak, and it gets the Parkway, the Blue Ridge Parkway itself gets very busy with people wanting to look at the leaves and stuff.
A lot of overlooks and areas were full, but there were still some that you could park at. We actually pretty quickly stopped for lunch. We have quite a few picnic areas scattered along the Parkway, and they were really nice, lots of picnic tables, restrooms. Yeah. After lunch, we drove more of the Parkway down to Linville Falls.
Oh right, Linville Falls was right after that.
Yeah.
And we parked on the road, like it was really busy.
It was really busy. We had to park on the road leading into the visitor center area. The parking lot was full. It's not a huge parking lot, but it was full. From the visitor center, you have to hike to see the falls, and we didn't make it. We
made it to the easier
We made it to the top of the falls, which has its own like mini falls and a big rock area. It's nice, and the trees were gorgeous. The trail was heavily trafficked.
There's lines to get through some parts of the trail because, like, there's rocks and stuff where
narrow
you have to
spaces.
And there were lines to let people go because there's one-way traffic. But when we got down to the top of the waterfall area, there was a lot of people there too.
There were a lot of people. We could see where we had to hike to for the top of the falls.
Well, we could see people on the other side.
And it's really high, so even though there's a short distance, it was really high. I think we had some knees giving out.
Well, and we thought about doing it, but then we were like, well, we have 2 more places we want to stop.
Yeah,
so.
I overly itinerized.
Itinerized?
I planned too much into our schedule. The nice thing is, it's 3.5 hours away, and we can just go to it if we want. Yes.
Twice? Multiple times?
Yeah. After that, we did something else.
I don't remember what we did after that.
We went to the Pisgah National Forest, and we drove on Old 105.
Oh, that was right after.
And it's an unpaved
road.
It's part of the Pisgah Loop, and it's unpaved. We got through it without using our 4-wheel drive.
That's right. Yeah.
We saw 2 sedans up there, and I genuinely don't know how they got
We crossed over an area that, like, in our Jeep, I had to slow down and maneuver it. And then after that, there was a Tesla, like a Model 3.
Yeah, and which we have a Tesla, so we know both vehicles.
It was our first off-roading experience. Our vehicle.
In our vehicle, yes.
Taking our vehicle onto an off-road experience.
Yes.
That was, well, not challenging. Wasn't like...
It was fun.
It wasn't like a gravel road or anything.
No, it wasn't like a simple gravel road. Right. It had elevation, and it had bumps in the road and wind. It goes along a ridge, which is pretty awesome. It's totally worth it. It's totally fun. Just be careful if you don't have 4-wheel drive or high ground clearance, because you risk destroying your vehicle.
As we have recently mentioned, it's possible. I don't know how, but it's possible.
I don't know what the conditions are of those cars, however. And actually, we just went and drove the road again last week.
Yep.
And it is in worse condition now. And so I would not... We actually did have to use 4-wheel drive at one point. So on that road is Wiseman's View. And it's this incredible overlook onto the Linville Gorge. You can't see the waterfall from there, but oh my gosh.
It's amazing. When you come out, because there's a little bit of a hike. We were joking because after driving several miles on this unpaved road to the top, and we're at Wiseman's View, there's this nice paved trail out to Wiseman's View. which is.
But on the other hand, it's
Yeah.
accessible.
It's very accessible.
Which is nice.
Um,
And there's a way where you can walk sort of a steep path, but then there's a longer way around for more gentle path.
But as you're coming down that, you kind of at the end of the tunnel of trees. You just see like you just see a mountain. You see a little view, and you're like, well, that looks like it's going to be nice up ahead. But as you come out, it's just like it opens up, and it's just
mountains for miles and ages
Yeah.
and days, and across is Hawksbill, and then a little
Table
bit over is Table Rock.
Table Rock.
And I don't know the other names. I've been trying to learn the names, and then it's just this huge gorge, and I feel like it's so underrated. Everybody talks about the Grand Canyon, which I'm sure, of course, is amazing.
Yeah.
I've only flown over it, and this isn't the Grand Canyon, but it's still incredible.
You look across, and it's a long way. You're very high. It's very deep.
And the Linville River
Goes right-
meanders at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe. Obviously, we'll be posting pictures. You should see it if you can, but you need to be careful because I read that Linville Gorge wilderness area, it has, I think, the second highest number of rescue operations in the United States. It's very rugged wilderness.
And there's the sign.
Oh, yes. Well, it's true. There is a sign
They warn you about it.
to watch your children.
Yeah, watch your children, or they're gonna fall.
You can definitely fall off of Wiseman's
Yeah.
view. There's no question. You're not gonna have a good day or possibly die.
Yeah,
if you do.
there's a guardrail, but you can easily get over it and walk
Yeah.
down into this other area that
that a lot of people did.
There are no guardrails, and there was people at the top of this very rugged trail to get to here. We get out and there's people dressed formally, and people apparently get photos taken out
Yeah.
there.
I mean,
which-
I just envision like brides riding up in jeeps to get there. There were some people getting close to ledges. All you have to do is
One trip.
lose your balance a little bit.
Yeah.
And look, even if you survive, it's so difficult. There's not much of a cell signal out there.
If any.
If any. Rescue operations require multiple organizations and it can take hours. But it was so awesome, and of course we have already returned.
And I definitely want to go camping up there. I think it would
Yeah.
be wonderful.
It would be awesome. Next thing we did
Oh yeah.
was we continued on the parkway, which was amazing. We were hurrying because we were trying to get to the top of Mount Mitchell
Before
before
sunset.
sunset. And we did make
Yeah.
it, like right in the nick of time. And
And it was cold.
when it was 34 degrees on the top of that mountain that day, whereas below it had been like 65, I think.
Yeah.
Warm anyway. And
Yep.
you could park at the top, but then there's a little bit of a walk from there, and it's very steep, even though even though you only gain 80 more feet in elevation.
Yeah.
And I barely made it up there.
I didn't.
I don't have the arthritis in my knees, but I'll tell you what, I got winded in my chest, and I had like
Yeah.
a cold feeling, and I coughed and coughed and
Oh,
coughed
yeah.
afterwards. But I'd never,
Well-
almost lifelong resident of North Carolina, I've never been to the top of Mount Mitchell. So I'm like, I'm doing
Yeah.
it.
The funny thing though is we pulled into the parking lot. Like we drive up to the top again, racing to the top. Get there and the sun's setting. It's beautiful.
It was
But-
incredible.
But we're in the parking lot. We're just taking pictures from the parking lot.
That's right. I know what you're gonna say.
And this other lady just pulls up and is like, there's more.
Yeah, because she could tell that like we thought that's all that there was. It was like from the parking lot, and she's like,
Right.
by the way, if you walk up
Well,
this area,
It's freezing cold and we're tired because this is the end of the trip.
Yeah,
we had
it
already
was.
walked a lot at the
Yeah.
Linville Falls.
it's also getting towards dinner
We're
time.
hungry. We're freezing. We're like, okay, these are sunset photos. Let's take the photos. And we got great photos from there.
Yeah.
The parking lot photos are amazing. But the other thing that was wild was, you're coming up that hill. There's like a nice pathway that's paved. It's bricks. It's nice. It's probably beautiful. But like we're all bundled up and freezing. She's bailed. She's like, I'm gonna get to the top, and she's ahead of us. We're still coming because we want to see it too, but we're coming very slowly. The thing that is missing from the cold is it was wind. It was like you're in a wind
Yeah.
tunnel and like bundled up trying to get up to the next spot. Finally, my dad and I literally just went into there's a building opening, and we just kind of huddled in there to warm up.
Yeah.
And then we both were like, yeah, we're done.
Yeah. There's one little spot to take a break, and there might have been another. I really can't remember.
And we went preparing for 60 degrees. Like this is what I wore.
We
Like this
did.
jacket was all I had to protect me from.
I've actually started doing this, looking up the temperatures of the altitudes will be at instead of just the general area.
Yeah.
Now, you have to be really smart about the North Carolina mountains, and maybe this happens elsewhere, because you can have inversion events where Mount Mitchell, the peak, is actually warmer than like Asheville, which is several thousand,
Really?
a few thousand.
So it'll be
feet
warmer?
below. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. Then we come down the mountain. Sun has set, it's dark, and we were going to go to Scraggy Mountain, which is right next. Craggy. I said Scraggy. We're going to go to Craggy Mountain. Craggy Springs, Craggy Place.
Craggy picnic area.
Craggy Gardens?
There's
Craggy Gardens.
Craggy Gardens.
Yeah.
But there's another one of the picnic areas.
But it was nighttime.
And it was cold.
And it was cold.
And it was windy.
And we were like, let's get less altitude before we have food.
Yeah.
We continue on the parkway for a long ways.
Oh my gosh, it took so much longer to get off the parkway than I thought.
And because we're, it's nighttime and you're winding. If you've ever driven the Blue Ridge Parkway, it's a 2-lane road, and you're on the ridge.
This, I think, is one of the highest areas of the parkway.
So
too.
so we're not rushing. We're trying to drive safely, and it took a long time.
It took a long, because it looks like you're just next to Asheville, but it took. It's only, if it was like a normal highway or whatever, it would have been nothing. But
so we get to the bottom, and we have our dinner picnic at the glorious, amazing Interstate 40 rest stop.
And we just ate out of the back of our Jeeps.
Yeah, we both opened up the back of our Jeeps, and we just stood there and we ate food for our.
Rest area is not bad place
actually,
to picnic, actually.
No. And that was it. That was the trip, and we drove home.
That was the trip.
You'd bought some radios, walkie-talkies.
Yeah, yes.
So we gave my dad one, and
Yeah.
we got to talk. We talked. We got to coordinate while we were making decisions. And
actually, despite all of our, I guess, flaws or whatever, it was a great trip.
yeah, we had a really good time.
It was so amazing, and the color, the fall color, it was peaking. It was at the beginning of peak, I think, or middle, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it changed actually because you're going up elevation down. You can see the differences. In fact, when we got to the top of Mount Mitchell, it was past peak, way past peak. It's been completely fascinating to chase color this fall, and really fun.
Yeah.
We will have at least one more episode about chasing color this fall.
Yeah, and we've caught it. We chased it, and we caught the color.
And in fact, we thought it was post-peak, and this park where we're at today is Eastgate Park in Raleigh. There's so much color left, I couldn't believe it. It's it feels good to experience it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so that's our trip to the Blue Ridge Parkway area between Blowing Rock and Asheville-ish.
And I'm just gonna, since this is the end of the episode, we've gone this entire episode and I haven't said it, and I can't hold back anymore. Okay. Linville Gorge is gorgeous.
Yeah, Linville Gorge. It's Linville Gorgeous.
So, YouTube stuff.
Do YouTube stuff to us. Like, subscribe, comment,
Bye.
and share.
Oh yeah, share.
You can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at 2 Human People.
2 of us. That's why it's called 2 Human People. 1, 2.
Also human.
We promise.
We promise.
I'm going to try to wink. It's... Okay.
Geese landing.
Yeah. Dad and
But I was also texting back like, it's steep, don't come.
My
Because I
dad-
knew your knees were not going to have a good day. There they go.
There they go. Whoa. That was awesome.